Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today we're going to be going over what to buy and what to avoid this week in Grand Theft Auto Online. Now, before we get into the video, consider dropping a like if you enjoyed the video or if you learned something, and subscribing if you guys are new. A lot of you guys watch, not a lot of you subscribe, so if you like the style of content and the things I do, consider doing that. Now, before we get into anything else this week, we got to talk about the car sitting here behind me, which is the Pegasi Ignis, and not to be confused with the weaponized Ignis, which has become newly available on PC and has been available on PS5 and the Xbox Series consoles for some time now. This is just the regular Ignis, and it is 30% off this week, which is a pretty fair discount for the vehicle. It's really nice, it's fast, it handles well, and it's got some great customization, and I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Now, in case you're wondering about the Velatus, which is sitting here behind it, there's nothing going on with that. No bonus on it, no discount, no nothing. I just used it to get over here simply. But the Ignis is an awesome car. We're going to talk about it in a little bit as well. But before we get into that, we got to talk about what's going on this week in GTA Online, because that is the most important thing of the week. Now, to celebrate the 420 day, we have some special stuff in GTA Online this week, like a gold 420 pendant, a green 420 festival outfit, and a Yeti Earth Day hoodie, which if you know what any of that means, that's awesome. But yeah, cool. If you complete a biker business sell mission this week, you will also receive a special Guffy drug rug hoodie for anyone that cares. And we also have a new game mode this week as well, which is pretty interesting. We have hunting pack, but it is called Get Lamar. I've never seen these before, kind of seems pretty interesting. It's double money and double RP for the remainder of this week. So if you guys are interested, I think this is actually going to be a pretty fun game mode. Kind of reminds me of Manhunt. I think it's similar, so that is pretty neat. Now we also have double production speed on the weed farm, as well as organic produce within your nightclub basement warehouse. So that's pretty cool. For the weekly challenge, if you win 2 rounds of that hunting pack Get Lamar remix, you will receive a bonus $100,000. Additionally, as another money bonus, we got triple money on weed sell missions, which include the biker business weed, as well as the organic produce, which is produced in the nightclub basement. So we have double speed and triple money on those, which is really cool this week. So if you don't own the weed business, you should be buying one this week. There is a discount with that as well that we're going to talk about in just a minute, so we'll get to that. But we also have double money on street dealer sales. So street dealers are going to be paying twice as much as they normally would for the remainder of this week, which makes them actually a pretty good way to offload your MC business product. Most of the time, at least. All right, so to get into the property discount, we first have to come to the MC Clubhouse, because that's where we're going to be able to find the discounted property this week, or at least one of the 2 discounted properties. And if you want to buy this business for yourself, this is exactly what you're going to have to do. So you will walk into your MC Clubhouse, and you're going to walk all the way over here and run around to register as an MC president, and then you got to enter onto this computer, and this is where you're going to buy MC businesses, including the weed farm. So, for example, to buy a weed farm this week is 50% off, which is an insane discount on the weed farm. Now, the weed farms are typically fairly cheap anyways, but 50% off is insane, plus upgrades and modifications to it as well. So the equipment upgrade within it, the staff upgrade, and the security upgrades within the weed farms are also all going to be 50% off. So you can set up a weed farm this week for super cheap. So I would heavily advise you to do that. Now, as far as location goes, there are only 2 locations that are worth doing. One is the Sanchiansky Mountain Range location, and the other one is the downtown Vinewood location. Now, the reason that I have downtown Vinewood is because, in theory at least, if I was to spawn in the city, I would start my sale mission for weed in the city. The sale mission would end in Sandy Shores, which I would then go to my coke lockup, for example, then sell that, end up back in the city. Then if I had it set up properly, I'd have counterfeit cash or that one in the city and then sell back and forth. And it kind of optimizes your route a little bit. Doesn't really work that well, but it kind of sort of works, I guess. So I would advise downtown Vinewood or the Sanchiansky Mountain Range. Honestly, though, I would advise heavily to go for the Sanchiansky Mountain Range. I do just think it is a better location. Yeah, it sucks to have to drive out there, but you only have to drive out there when you sell if you have a master control terminal. So I'd heavily advise you to buy that, because then you can resupply your businesses from the city and you don't really ever have to go out here other than to just do your sale missions, But anyways, buy this one. That is definitely the one you need. Now, as far as upgrades go, equipment and staff are definitely the move. You got to have both of those. Security's hit or miss. The MC businesses are going to get rated regardless of if you have security or not. The security upgrade just moves the threshold for getting rated up a little bit. So you have to have more product in order to be eligible to be rated. So it can kind of help, but no matter what you do, these are going to get rated like all the time. I wouldn't be surprised if by the time I exit this computer and stand up to unregister as an MC president, if one of my MC businesses is getting rated. That's just how these work. But don't be fooled, they are still good to have, just avoid registering as an MC president whenever it's not required. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, time for the rest of the discounts, and we're going to go ahead and start off on the Maze Bank Foreclosures website with biker clubhouses. Clubhouses are how you're going to obviously access the MC businesses, and you will need to own one in order to register as an MC president. As far as location goes, I really like the Pillbox Hill Clubhouse, which is the one that I own, mostly because it is in very close proximity to a lot of my other businesses. As you can see, I have my salvage yard right here, I have my nightclub right here, I have my bail office right here, I have my auto shop right here. You can see that they're all in very close proximity, which is why I own this one. Now, obviously, set this up how you want to. If your nightclub and everything else is in, Upper Vinewood, then I would advise you to get maybe the Downtown Vinewood Clubhouse. Now, if you're trying to save money, I would say you can definitely get one of the ones up here. They're super cheap. The Great Chaparral Clubhouse is not a bad location. We do have some in Paleto Bay as well, but they're somehow more expensive. You're only really going to go here to purchase your MC businesses. So if you want to save the most amount of money possible, I go for the Great Chaparral Clubhouse. You're not really going to have to go here other than to maybe access your 10 bike garage if you want to, but it's not really super worth it. So the Great Chaparral Clubhouse is good. If you don't get that one, I would say go for one of the ones in the city. They're relatively cheap this week, and they're all 30% off, which is of course why I'm talking about them. So that is including upgrades and modifications and everything. As far as upgrades go, the custom bike shop does enable you to make $50,000 every 48 minutes by just completing a super quick bike customization and delivery. So if you want to do that sort of stuff, I would definitely advise you getting one in the city. I do think they are much more worth it in the city for that sort of stuff. But if you don't care about doing that, if you're not going to do it, buy the Great Chaparral Clubhouse. I think it's your best bet. As far as everything else in here goes, it's all cosmetic. I would not buy the gun locker. I would not buy the club name. I would not do the emblem. I would not do the style. I would not do the mural. You don't need any of it. Moving on to vehicle discounts, we have the Pegasi Ignis here on Legendary Motorsport for $1,935,500. This is the car that I showed right at the beginning of the video. For this price, I don't think you're getting super scammed. I do think this car is generally very expensive for what you're getting though, because with HSW cars in the game now, this thing performance-wise is a little bit obsolete, unless of course you don't have HSW on your platform. In which case, I would say this is actually a fairly good deal. I like this car a lot. Great customization, great looking car. I would advise you to buy it if you have lots of extra money laying around, but if you're looking for a supercar to like win races or something like that, I would avoid the Ignis. Scrolling a little further, we have the Lampadati Tigane for $1,617,000. This car is really cool. It makes a great engine sound, a great exhaust sound, everything like that. It handles well, it has decent acceleration and a okay top speed, and it has the missile lock-on jammer available for it as well, since it's been added back into the game after the Agents of Sabotage DLC. The customization's pretty good, it's a really fun car to drive, it's one of my favorite cars in the game. I would recommend getting this thing, but again, only if you have lots of extra money. And if you're looking for something that's just really good performance-wise, I would avoid the Tigane. I don't think it's that good performance-wise, especially again with HSW cars in the game. We also have the Annis S80RR, discounted this week for $1,802,500. It has the missile lock-on jammer available for it as well, and this is one of the best non-HSW supercars for racing. The only thing that really competes with the S80RR is maybe the Turismo Omaggio on certain tracks, as well as the Benefactor LM87. Now with HSW enabled, the S80 is not going to be that awesome, but it is really good against non-HSW cars on circuits. It's a fun car to drive. It is a one-seater though, so do keep that in mind. If you play with friends, it's a one-seater. You're not going to be able to have anybody else in it. Customization-wise, it's not that awesome. There's a few things you can do to it, so that is cool. Overall, I do think it's a really good car, and for this price, it is kind of a steal performance-wise, as long as you don't factor in HSW. So do with that information what you will. And of course we have the Annis RE7B, the OG race car in GTA Online. This thing is a two-seater, however it's worse than the S80RR in pretty much every single way. It has worse handling, worse top speed, worse acceleration. It is a two-seater, which is a bonus, but the customization on it is absolutely terrible in comparison to the S80 and a lot of the other cars that we've talked about. Overall, I don't really think this thing is super worth owning unless you just want to own it for like nostalgia's sake or just to say you own it. It has 3 different livery options: the Estancia livery, the Pegasus livery, and no livery. And there's 1 spoiler option, I do believe, maybe 2 actually. But other than that, there's literally nothing you can do to the RE7. I love this car. It is a really, really nostalgic car for me, but I don't think it's worth buying, unfortunately, for most people. Moving over to the motorcycles category, on Legendary, we have the Nagasaki Shinobi and the Nagasaki Shotaro, both discounted this week. Both these bikes are really, really good as far as racing goes. However, if you factor in HSW bikes, the Hakuchu Drag with HSW will absolutely destroy both of them. So if you play on a platform with HSW and you want to race or anything like that, neither of these bikes are going to be very good. And they're definitely not going to be able to hold a candle to the HSW Hakuchu Drag. However, both of them are really good handling bikes with very tight turning circles. The Shinobi has quite a bit of customization, and it is a relatively fast bike. And the wheelie lasts for quite some time on it. The Shotaro, on the other hand, does glow in the dark, which is cool, and you can change the color of the paint on it so it can glow different colors. Other than that, there's literally nothing you can do to it. So yeah, I mean, you can do performance upgrades, don't get me wrong, but that's it. There's no customization, there's no different stuff you can put on it or anything like that. What you see is what you get. I do think both of them are pretty overpriced, especially considering the Hakuchu Drag with HSW is like, it's kind of in the neighborhood. It's like another $1 million on top of these prices, which is kind of a lot if you think about it, but kind of not at the same time. I think the Shinobi is more worth it than the Shotaro. However, I understand why people like the Shotaro. It is a Tron bike, which is pretty cool. I'm not really a bike guy, so I wouldn't really take my advice, but I would say don't buy either of them unless you're really into motorcycles. But if you are going to buy one of the two, make it the Shinobi. Moving over to Southern San Andreas Super Autos, we got the Ubermacht Reinhardt discounted by 30% off this week. This thing is a very, very nice car to customize. Unfortunately, performance-wise, it's not that awesome. It is all-wheel drive, so it gets a good launch and good acceleration. The top speed, though, is a little bit on the weaker side. And overall, it's just not really that great of a car for how much money it costs, which is a lot of money for what you're getting. Even on discount, I do think this thing is quite expensive, and I would only really recommend buying it if you're really in the market for a wagon and you have a ton of disposable income and you've got all your businesses and everything like that. And even then, I would still buy a lot of the cars on Legendary Motorsport before I would start with the Reinhardt. And for the final discount of the week, we have the Declasse Draugr for $981,000 if you have the trade price, or $1,309,000 if you don't have the trade price. If you want an off-road capable vehicle in GTA Online, look no further. The Declasse Draugr is an absolute animal. It's all-wheel drive, it can climb pretty much anything. It has a really good handling, great ground clearance as well. Some nice customization options, albeit not the most customization ever, but still very good looking stuff that you can do to it. And it is a performance demon. This thing is like the #1 off-road category vehicle in the entire game right now, other than maybe the monstrosity with HSW. It's the only car that can maybe hold a candle to this thing, but this thing doesn't have HSW, and it's as fast as it is, which is kind of crazy to think about. The Draugr is super worth these amounts of money if you want to do some off-roading in GTA Online or some off-road racing. Performance-wise, this thing knocks pretty much everything out of the park. It's an awesome vehicle. I would highly recommend it if, again, you want to off-road or go off-road racing. Other than that, I don't really recommend it. It's not that awesome in any other regard. Within the casino, the podium vehicle for the week is the Western Rampant Rocket. I personally don't get it, but if you want to try, go for it, my brother. And the prize ride within the LS car meet is the Pegassi Osiris, and in order to win this thing, pretty easy challenge, top 3 for 3 days in a row. So if you have somebody that you can race with, this is going to be a pretty easy car to get, and it's a fantastic car if you can get it for free. Not much in the way of customization, but it is a rocket. It's got all-wheel drive, great acceleration, great launch, everything like that. Top speed, not the greatest ever, but it is still an awesome car And if you can get it for free, you absolutely should. All right, and within the car mate, we got 3 bikes available. We got the Western Zombie Bobber, we got the Dinka Enduro, and the Shih Tzu Hakuchu. Shih Tzu Hakuchu goes for $82,000. For that price, I would say buy it because it's fairly cheap. Why not? Dinka Enduro, 48 grand. I'd also say buy it if you're interested because why not? And the Western Zombie Bobber for $99,000. I think it's a pretty sweet looking bike. I don't really like motorcycles, like I said earlier in the video, but I would say any of these for under $100,000, like you really cannot go wrong. If you don't like it, it's not a huge loss. So buy them all, I guess. All right, and within Simeon's, we got the Benefactor XLS available this week. Pretty solid SUV, nothing in the way of customization, sadly, but for 253 grand, I mean, it's a pretty decent one. Performance-wise, you're not going to get anything special out of it. It's just kind of a cool looking SUV if you're interested in it. Honestly, most of you, I'd recommend not buying it though. I also have the Lampadaddy Viserys here. It is weaponizable, which is kind of cool. You can put front mounted machine guns on it. It also has a wide body kit, which is pretty cool. $875,000 for it. If you guys are interested, no discount on it though. So I would say I'd wait for it to go on discount before purchasing it. But if you really want it, it is here. We also have the Enos Cognoscenti Cabrio. God almighty, I can't get over the fact that they let this car into the game way back in 2013. It's crazy. $202,000. I mean, bro, if you didn't think the front was bad enough, oh my god, that's just gross. We also have the DeClasse Vamos here. This thing is absolutely dreadful to drive at anything over 100 miles per hour, but it is 623 grand here. No discount on it at all whatsoever. I can't necessarily recommend it. It's just not a good car in any way, really. It can't even handle going straight, which is bad for a muscle car. So yeah, I would avoid the Vamos. And of course we got the Western Cliffhanger as well. I think this is 120 grand. 225. Oh dear. Pretty cool looking bike, I gotta say. I would pay that for the Cliffhanger. I actually do have one of this bike. This is one of the only bikes I have in the game, but I do have a Cliffhanger and I do like it. So that's pretty high praise coming from me, I guess. All right, Luxury Auto is disappointing again. Coquette D1 and Pegassi Torero XO. That's it. Within the salvage yard for the robberies this week, we have the Canis Camacho available for completing the McTony robbery. We have the Grotti GT500 for completing the cargo ship robbery, and the Lampadaddy Viserys for completing the Duggan robbery. But unfortunately, of course, none of them are claimable. So that's awesome. And they're all not worth a whole lot of money. So that's just great. Priority file within the Garment Factory is the Fine Art file this week. So there you have it. All right, and the gun van location today is in Lester's factory area where you drop stuff off. Not the Garment Factory, but his other factory that you used to drop stuff off in missions at. So anyways, inside the gun van this week, we have the L Strickler, the Tactical SMG, which you should buy, the Service Carbine, which is pretty cool, the Battle Rifle, the Compact Grenade Launcher, the Pump Shotgun, and the Pool Cue. So any of those that you want, they are available here. I would definitely buy the Tactical SMG. That's the #1 thing out of all of these for sure. For throwables, we've got proxy mines, pipe bombs, and tear gas. And we also have body armor, of course, which I will go ahead and fill up on. And as far as the time trials go, we got your RC Bandito time trial, Cypress Flats for today. We got Mirror Park as your Junk Energy time trial. Your regular time trial is going to be Observatory, and your HSW time trial starts up here at Sandy Shores. And it is going to end at the very bottom of Elysian Island here at the docks. Actually, no, it's not. It's going to end by the scrapyard. It's actually going to end in the scrapyard, as a matter of fact. Anyway, guys, there you have it. That has been it for what to buy and what to avoid this week in Grand Theft Auto Online. If you enjoyed the video, if you learned something, a like is of course appreciated. If not, dislike, and consider subscribing to my channel if you guys are new. With that being said, I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Peace.